I was actually thinking about it, I said casually when someone asked, "Who's next?" At my sister's baby shower. My mom burst out laughing. "Please don't." My husband smiled in agreement. I didn't say anything, just got up and left. The next morning, I woke up to 57 missed calls. My name is Nina. I'm 35, married, no kids. Depending on who you ask in my family, that either makes me selfish, unlucky, or the smart one who knows better. I'm not sure which version they actually believe. Maybe all of them. Maybe it changes depending on the day in the audience. My younger sister, Haley, is the kind of person who plans her pregnancy announcement like a movie trailer. Matching outfits, professional photos, a caption that says, "Baby J, coming this spring in looping script with strategically placed fairy lights." She's 4 years younger than me, but somehow always seemed to be a dozen steps ahead, at least in the ways that counted to my mom. The baby shower was last Saturday at our parents' house. Naturally, I got there early to help set up. I had bought ribbon, brought the extra table from our garage, and hand-cut all the little pink signs for the dessert table. My name wasn't on the invitation, but that didn't matter. I showed up with lemon bars and tape, and that's always been my place in this family. The helper, not the center, not the star, just the one who fills the gaps. Haley showed up 30 minutes late, wearing a white maternity dress and ballet flats, and the room broke into applause. My mom made a fuss, pulling out a chair, fluffing a throw pillow behind her back like she was royalty. Meanwhile, I was still rearranging bottled water in a cooler because apparently the fun aunt job includes catering. That's the name they use for me sometimes. Fun aunt. It's always been a little jab. The implication being not the serious one, not the one with a plan, just someone whose life is entertaining in a mildly concerning way. Mark, my husband, was in the corner near the fireplace scrolling on his phone. He didn't even look up when I walked past him 3 times. That's sort of our dynamic. He doesn't step in unless I ask directly, and even then, it depends on the tone. I was standing by the veggie tray trying to keep my Spanx from rolling when Haley's best friend Bree clapped her hands and said, "Okay, one last game." Guess who's next? I should have seen it coming. All eyes turned to me. I smiled. Tried to keep it easy, natural. I was actually thinking about it, I said lightly, casually. Just enough truth to sting if it landed wrong. And it did. My mom burst out laughing. A full-on open-mouthed, breathless laugh, like I had just told the best joke of the day. "Please don't!" she said loud, tearful, like she thought she was doing me a favor. Haley snorted into her plastic champagne glass. Bree giggled. Mark smiled. Not the kind of smile you'd use to soften a blow. The kind that said, "Yeah, that tracks." I stood there for a second with my mouth half open, as if maybe I'd imagined it. Maybe I'd misheard. But no one backpedaled. No one said, "Hey, that's not fair," or "Come on, guys." They just moved on. Someone made a joke about Haley having twins. Someone else called dibs on holding the baby first. I didn't cry. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't knock over the stupid banner that said, "Oh baby," in glitter letters. I just put my paper plate down, picked up my bag, and walked out the front door. No one stopped me. No one even called after me. I drove in silence. I didn't have a plan. I didn't even have a jacket. Just keys in my hand and a knot in my throat that wouldn't untangle. I ended up at Dana's. She's a friend I've had since college. She's seen me through breakups, job changes, awkward bangs. When I texted her, "Are you home?" she didn't ask why. She just said, "Come in." I'll leave the door unlocked. She met me in the hallway with a blanket and half a leftover pizza. We sat on her couch in sweatpants watching old sitcoms. She didn't push me to talk. He didn't need to. That night, I slept on her pull-out couch under a weighted blanket with her cat curled up near my feet. I woke up to the buzz of my phone vibrating against the floor. 57 missed calls. 8 from my mom, 6 from Haley, 3 from Bree. The rest all from Mark. The family group chat was going off too. I didn't even open it. I just stared at the numbers on my screen, one after another, like a scroll of names I was supposed to care about. But not one of them said, "I'm sorry." Not one. And that was the moment I realized something I hadn't let myself admit before. This wasn't new. This wasn't a one-time misstep or an awkward joke that landed wrong. This was who they were. This was how they saw me. And the only thing that had changed was that this time I didn't stay to be part of the punchline. I left. And for the first time, I didn't feel guilty about it. Not yet, anyway. I didn't open any of the missed calls that morning. I just stared at the list of names all in a neat row, like a guest list for a party I never agreed to attend. My mom had texted, "Can we talk?" No apology, no explanation, just the usual expectation that I'd be the one to make things okay. Mark had only sent 4 words. "Can we fix this?" I didn't reply. Instead, I pulled the blanket up to my chin and just stared at the ceiling of Dana's spare room, which had tiny glow-in-the-dark stars from when her niece used to sleep there. I remember thinking how strange it was that I'd helped put those stars up years ago, and now here I was, curled under the same ceiling like a broken version of my younger self. I felt blank, not devastated, not angry, just empty until the memories started coming. Not of the baby shower. That was still too fresh, too sharp. I started remembering other moments, smaller ones, moments I'd pushed to the back of my mind because they didn't count as I was taught not to make a fuss. Like the time I got a nosebleed in 4th grade and my aunt said, "Nina always finds a way to make everything about her." Or when I made honor roll in high school and my mom said, "Well, it's not like she's got anything else going on." Or when I slipped on black ice during winter break and Haley told our cousins, "Nina's the only person who can make gravity feel secondhand embarrassment." They all laughed and I laughed too, because what else was I supposed to do? It was easier to be in on the joke than to be the punchline. That's how I learned to survive in my family. If they made fun of you, it meant you were still part of the group. The worst thing was silence, being left out, being ignored. So I kept laughing even when it stung. Even when it left bruises I couldn't explain. I think that's why I married Mark. It hit me that morning like someone opened a window in my head and let the truth in all at once. I didn't marry him because he was kind. I married him because he felt familiar. Because he teased me the way my family did. Because I thought that's what love looked like. And the really messed up part? I was proud of that once. I remember introducing him to my parents and my mom saying, "He's got your sense of humor," like it was a compliment. I remember Mark joking that night. Guess I passed the sarcasm test. We both laughed. I felt seen. I didn't realize I was being evaluated for my tolerance. Dana was in the kitchen making eggs when I walked in. I must have looked off because she didn't say anything. Just poured me coffee and handed over the sugar like it was medicine. "You okay?" she asked finally. I nodded, then shook my head. "I think I married my family." She gave me a look. "That's not ideal." "I mean it," I said. "The way they treat me, the way he treats me, it's the same language, just different dialects." She leaned back against the counter. "You ever say that out loud before?" "No," I said. "I didn't even know I felt it until right now." I sat at the table and opened my phone, not to check texts, just to open a new note. I titled it "Why I Left," and I started writing. Not just about the baby shower. That was the trigger. Sure, but it wasn't the root. It was years of things, an accumulation, a long, slow erosion of dignity chipped away one joke at a time. Thanksgiving 2018. Mark tells everyone I burn water. 2019. Mom says she hopes any baby I have gets Mark's brain and her patience. 2020. Haley makes a slideshow for Dad's birthday. I'm in 2 photos, both with my eyes closed. 2021. Mark and my dad joking at dinner that I'm the difficult one. 2022 family game night. Mark mimics my voice during charades. Everyone guesses Nina. 2023 my own birthday. Mark gives me a card that says, "You're still not pregnant, but at least you're fun." I had laughed at all of it. I wrote that down too. I laughed every time because I thought it was safer than crying. At one point, Dana walked by, glanced at the screen and said, "You're building a case file?" "I guess I am." She nodded. "Good. You'll need it." That afternoon, my mom called again. I didn't pick up. Instead, I scrolled through our last text. She had sent me a meme once, a cartoon of a woman crying into a wine glass with the caption, "When your eggs are aging, and so are your standards." It had 3 laughing emojis. No context, just that. At the time, I'd sent back, "Haha, rude." She'd replied, "You know I'm joking." "Love you." I believed her. Now I didn't know if I did. Mark hadn't texted again, but I found myself reading our old messages, trying to pinpoint when the teasing started. Maybe it had always been there. Early on, it was small things. The time I tripped on a sidewalk crack and he said, "Good thing you're pretty." The time I cried watching a commercial and he said, "God, you're a walking hormone." The time I bought a new outfit and he said, "For effort." The time I told him I wanted to try writing a novel and he said, "Why? We already have enough struggling authors." And every time I said something, he'd grin and go, "Relax. I'm just messing with you." So I relaxed or tried to, and I slowly stopped sharing my wins because they'd become punchlines. I stopped trying new things because they'd become material. I stopped dreaming out loud. I just stopped. The last thing I added to my note that night was, "I used to think love was about finding someone who gets your humor. Now, I think it's about finding someone who never makes you feel like the joke." I didn't know what I was going to do next, but I knew I couldn't go back. And for the first time in years, that thought didn't terrify me. It felt like freedom. I told Mark I'd be coming by to get my things. Just some essentials. Laptop, charger, notebooks, the good blanket he always borrowed and never folded. He didn't ask questions, just said, "Hey, I'll be here." When I pulled into the driveway, the porch light was on. The lawn looked slightly overgrown, which surprised me. He was usually obsessive about trimming the edges. For some reason, that made me feel better, like I wasn't the only one falling apart. Mark opened the door before I knocked. He smiled like we were picking up dinner, not picking through the ruins of our marriage. "I'm glad you came back," he said. "I didn't come back," I replied. "I just came to pack." He stepped aside. I walked in. The house smelled like takeout and some kind of new air freshener. Fake lavender. Something trying too hard to feel normal. I went straight to the bedroom. My duffel bag was already on the bed, unzipped like he thought I might stay. I didn't. "You don't have to do this, you know," he said from the doorway. "They didn't mean anything by it. My mom laughs like that all the time." "I wasn't talking about your mom," I said, folding a sweater. He tried again. "I mean, yeah, maybe the joke landed wrong, but everyone was drinking. It was a party." I looked up. "Mark, it wasn't just the baby shower. It's every time." He frowned. "Every time what?" "You make me the joke." He opened his mouth, closed it again, then smiled like this was a test. Then, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have laughed. You know I love you." "Do you?" He blinked. "Of course I do." "Then why does it always feel like I'm auditioning for a part one already have?" He rubbed the back of his neck. "What are you talking about?" I pulled my phone from my purse and opened the Notes app. I made a list. A list. I started reading. Calm, steady. No theatrics. Thanksgiving 2018. You told your cousin I don't cook. I assemble. New Year's 2019. You introduced me as your emotional support wife at your office party Valentine's Day 2020. You gave me a card that said, "You're still the weirdest girl I know. Don't ever change. But maybe do." He laughed under his breath, then stopped when I looked up. You kept track of all this. I stopped pretending it didn't matter, I said. He shook his head. It was all in good fun. That's just how we are. You give it right back. I stared at him when he didn't have an answer. He crossed his arms instead. So what? Now I'm the villain just because I don't sugarcoat everything. No, I said you're not the villain. You're just the echo. He squinted. The what? The echo of every joke my family made about me. You fit right in because I was trained to find that comfortable. I thought teasing was love because that's all I knew. Silence. Then his voice quieter. You never said any of this. I didn't know how to name it until now. My phone buzzed. I checked the screen. Group chat. Haley had posted a photo from the baby shower, me frozen mid-smile holding a paper plate. The caption said, "At least some of us can take a joke." I put the phone down, didn't reply. Is that what this is about? Mark said, gesturing at my phone. Some caption, some meme. This is about you thinking the only way to connect with me is through sarcasm, I said, and me thinking that meant I mattered. He looked genuinely stunned. I pulled an envelope from my bag. Not the not final, just the beginning. What's that? He asked. Separation agreement. He didn't take it. I'm not staying married to someone who laughs when I'm humiliated. I'm not doing it anymore, Mark. This is crazy. No, I said crazy is staying. I zipped the duffel bag, slung it over my shoulder. Mark followed me to the front door. So what now? You're just going to be alone. I looked back at him. I already was. As I stepped outside, my phone buzzed again. A message from my mom. Can't we all just move on? Haley's hormonal. You're too sensitive. Everyone's exhausted. I screenshotted it, added it to the folder I titled Reasons I Left. Before I drove away, I opened the family group chat for the first time in days. Typed, "To be clear, I'm not overreacting. I'm just done performing." Then I hit leave group. The next day, I signed a lease on a small one-bedroom with creaky floors and too much light. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. That night, while unpacking my books, someone knocked on the door. I looked through the peephole. Who's my mom? I didn't open it. She called through the door. Nina, I know you're in there. This has gone far enough. I opened the door halfway. She gasped a little when she saw me. You look thin. I'm fine. I'm worried about you. No, you're worried about appearances. Her face twitched. You're breaking this family apart. I held the door a little wider. No, I said. I'm breaking the pattern. She flinched. I waited. You think you're better than us now? She snapped. No, I said. I think I'm finally learning I deserve better. Then I closed the door. No slamming, just a click. Inside, I sat down on the floor next to a half-unpacked box. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I didn't second-guess. I just sat there and breathed. Not everyone will understand this feeling, but when you've lived your whole life twisting yourself into the shape that other people find funny, stepping out of that shape feels like freedom. Even if it's lonely at first, even if it's quiet, I was alone, but I was free, and that felt like a start. Mark didn't reply right away when I left. Not after the folder. Not after I calmly laid out every insult, every moment of public humiliation dressed up as humor. I thought maybe he finally got the message. But I should have known better because 2 days later, I started getting messages again. this time from my mom. He says he's sorry. Maybe you were too emotional. It's just who he is. Nina, don't throw your marriage away over a tone. Over a tone. That's how she described what happened. Like he didn't flat out humiliate me in front of a room full of people, including her. Like it was a misinterpreted email or a misplaced comma. Then Haley jumped in. I guess they couldn't resist trying a group effort. You were the one who brought drama to my baby shower. We were having fun, Nina. You took it too far. Just laugh it off like everyone else. Like I hadn't spent my entire life laughing it off. Laughing while they tore me down. Laughing while they made me the punchline. Laughing until I forgot what real joy even sounded like. That was the final line in Haley's message. You used to know how to take a joke. I didn't reply. I just set my phone down and walked outside barefoot into the cold just to breathe, just to feel the air on my face. And then I did something that changed everything. I posted a message in the family group chat. You're right. I used to laugh. I used to take it. I used to believe that if I could be the cool one, the easy one, the one who didn't make waves, maybe one day you'd love me the way you love Haley. But I don't need that anymore. I don't need your version of love. I don't need your version of family. I'm done. And I left the group. Not even 5 minutes later, my mom called. I let it go to voicemail. Mark tried again too. This time he left a long message. 4 minutes and 37 seconds of guilt, excuses, and finally panic. You're just going to walk away from everything from me. You don't even care about the vows we made. You've always been dramatic. This is just another meltdown. You'll calm down. And then this line, if you divorce me, you'll be proving them right. My family, his family, everyone who laughed at me and called it love. I didn't respond. Instead, I packed up the rest of my things from our house and moved into a temporary sublet across town. I paid the rent in full upfront and gave my lawyer the go-ahead to prepare the actual divorce paperwork. That's when things escalated, because they didn't take the hint. Mark showed up outside my building, buzzed every apartment until someone let him in. I found him waiting outside my door holding flowers. Nina, he said like we were in some sad movie. Come on, you proved your point. You made your little scene. But this isn't you. I think it is. I said you just never bothered to see it. He stepped closer. So that's it. 10 years down the drain. No, I said 10 years down the drain is what would have happened if I stayed. He grabbed my arm, not hard, but firmly. I'm not letting you throw this away. I pulled back. Then you're not hearing me. That night, I called my lawyer and asked her to finalize the paperwork as soon as legally possible. I signed everything 2 days later. Remote notarization, 1 Zoom call, a stack of documents, done. Or so I thought, because my mother decided to have one more go at me. She showed up at my door with a Tupperware of stew and a speech about how family is complicated and you're overreacting and you'll regret being so cold one day. I let her talk, and then I asked one question. Would you have laughed if it were Haley they were mocking? She blinked. Didn't answer. That's what I thought. I said, please don't come here again. She left the Tupperware on my front step and walked away. I didn't eat it. The divorce was finalized a few weeks later. I didn't make a post, didn't tell anyone, just signed the papers and walked out of the notary's office into the freezing air, lighter than I had felt in years. Mark sent one last email. I hope you're happy. I didn't reply, but I was. Not immediately, not completely, but for the first time I felt like I was living in a world that belonged to me. A year later, everything was different. I met someone new, not on an app, not at work, just at a friend's game night. His name was Eli. He was kind, steady, the kind of man who didn't need to be the loudest voice in the room to be heard. He never once made a joke at my expense. He made me laugh, yes, but never at myself, never to cut me down. He laughed with me, not at me, and that I realized was everything. We got married quietly. No big announcements, no guest list drama, just a courthouse, 2 rings, and a breakfast afterward at a diner that served too much coffee and not enough sugar packets. It was perfect. Then this spring, I found out I was pregnant. I didn't cry. I didn't panic. I just sat in the bathroom holding the test and whispered, "Okay, let's do this, right?" When I told Eli, he grinned like a kid at Christmas and said, "She's going to have your eyes." I asked how he knew it was a girl. He shrugged. "I just do. I haven't told my family yet. They send birthday texts now. We see each other once a year, maybe twice. Polite visits, stiff conversations. Haley still thinks I'm going through a phase. That's fine. They don't know about the baby yet. I'm not hiding it. I just haven't decided if it's worth the emotional math. But I know one thing for sure. My daughter will never wonder if her dreams are funny. She'll never hear her fears turned into punchlines. She won't be the family clown or the scapegoat or the one who's too serious. She'll be a person, a whole complete, brilliant person, and I'll protect her like I wish someone had protected me. I'm still not sure if I overreacted or if it just took me too long to finally react at all. Either way, thanks for sticking with me. Really, if you think I did the right thing or didn't, let me know in the comments.